TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Yeah. 1990.
Right.
I had a little partial herniated disc back in the day in university, and I used to get stingers in judo. And yeah, I protected it in wrestling. I did a skin the cat once where I kind of hit it and I got like the arm gimmick. And I remember Umaga gave me the running ass in the corner and like bad. Like it's your spinal cord. Your disc is mine was becoming calcified, so it's like a piece of bone, just jabbing your spinal cord. It's bad. And then I would have good days or good weeks and bad weeks, and someone turns you, you're moving like this, and then the inflammation would go down. And as long as those bad times were far and few between, it's okay. They just started becoming
Too frequent.
Too frequent, yeah.
What did you do in order to try to rehab before you got your neck?
Oh, I did traction all the time. I would travel with this device, and a lat pull-down machine.
Yes.
I go to a gym, take off the bar, put this thing, hook my head, and sit there. And after like a minute, you would feel like the zzz coming back in the arms, like just taking off the pressure. That kept me going for years, just doing that maintenance all the time. There was one day I slept. A big problem for me is sleeping on the planes. I'm gonna sleep. I sleep before takeoff. But having your head like for 2 hours and getting up, it's like, oh. And that was really a problem. So one day I was gonna wrestle Swagger. So I had a couple issues. One of them was I had a facet rhizotomy where your facet joints are rubbing bone on bone, it's hitting the nerve. So one day I'm about to warm up, I go, Doc, I can't move my neck. Like it was stuck within a very small space where there was no pain. And that was the first time I had to stop. I went and got a shot, came back, felt great, had a match. Well, made it worse. And then the second shot. That was a longer one, but that was the facet joint. But it was the spinal cord issue that was the one that gave me the surgery. So when I was no longer cleared to wrestle because of that, that's when I made that promo in Toronto where I wanted to speak like this with this voice, but they wanted me to be in character. And I just said, this is the third time I'm not medically cleared. I don't know if I'll be back. I'm gonna get the surgery. I'm gonna try and come back. If I can't, all I wanna say is that I always wished I could have been introduced from Toronto or Mississauga. Depends how, if they let me say Mississauga because it's small, it's not as popular as Toronto.
Right.
And that's all. And then it came across as if I retired and stuff. But that was, I didn't have a match since that day.
When did you inform WWE about that? Or was that a decision they made for you?
It was a joint. When they do a test and they say, can you do this? You're like, no, I can't move there. The doctors know. And the WWE takes awesome care of you when you're hurt. They send you to, it was actually Pittsburgh, Dr. Maroon. They did, the MRIs. They did everything. The last match I had was Rusev, camel clutch. He was holding my neck right into a point where it was hitting the nerve. I'm like, just waiting for him to let go of it. I tapped, the bell rang, he's still holding it. I'm like, oh my God. And then that was the last, it was bad.
If it wasn't for the wellness medical exam, would you have known how bad your neck was?
There's no wellness medical.
I meant as far as like the WWE medical looking at you.
Oh no, I knew. Yeah, I knew.
Okay.
I couldn't move my head. Oh, so the one day when it first kicked in, the match where I was gonna wrestle Swagger or something, and I could not move my neck. Any direction was like lightning. And then Jesus, one morning, I had to Sandow put a sweater on me. Big E helped me with my shoes. I had to leave, and I couldn't move my neck. And they went to. I just sat in the car, and they worked out. And I went to the building, and I couldn't move my neck, and I was scared. Like that's pretty bad, I even had to put the plastic in it for a while. But that was the facet issue, and that wasn't even the fusion issue. So I had my fusion, decided to go with it. Mark Carano, he sat me down. He goes, "Listen, take your time about this decision. This is serious surgery and there's a long recovery." And I said, well, I can't continue my life like this. I couldn't even lay down in bed. I would have to lay down face first, brace myself, and roll over.
Wow.
Because lifting my head like this it was bad, man. My wife would be crying sometimes watching me get out of bed, and we decided to have the surgery, and it was a success. They put in a piece of titanium, fusing 3 vertebrae, and taking out 2 discs. It's a double discectomy, and they took some, I think it was shin bone from a cadaver. Some dead guy didn't need it anymore, so I borrowed his leg bones, and they used them as the spacers that are taking place of the discs.
Right.
So after 1 month, we did a follow-up X-ray, and the doctor goes, "Oh wow, it looks like one of your screws is coming out." He goes, "But don't worry, it's probably gonna just, stop, fuse, scar tissue will lock it in." And he goes, "But if you ever feel a sore throat, really bad sore throat, let us know immediately." And I was at Tribute to the Troops. I was in the car with Sandow, and like within a couple hours, I'm like, instant strep throat. It felt like strep throat, burning, inflamed. I said, "Oh man, this is not normal." I knew it wasn't normal. I called the doctor. I said, "My throat is killing me."
Were you overseas or?
I was in one of the military bases in the U.S.
Okay.
Maybe Virginia. Yeah, Virginia, the naval base.
Okay.
And when I told them what was wrong, they were like very serious. They said, "Well, you were flying out tomorrow, and you're having," I guess they did an X-ray, and so 1 screw came completely out. Like, this is the screw, it came out. 1 was halfway out, and they had to take out the titanium. So the titanium wasn't the support. The titanium is called an internal collar, and that holds it in place until the fusion takes place. Luckily, 3 months had elapsed, and enough fusion had taken place that they didn't have to. Because as I'm going to bed, I don't know if I'm waking up to a hard collar for 6 months. I'm like, I got shit to do, man. I run battle arts. I can't be in a hard collar. And luckily, yeah, man. When I woke up, I'm like, I remember waking up going, "What happened?" And they took out all the hardware. Because my first thing was, can you tighten the screws? Can you put a larger gauge screw in there, kind of get some tread? Like,
right.
I've put together IKEA furniture, and no, they took it out. But cutting on the same place twice, I think that messed it up a little bit. Because they had to reopen the scar that just healed. They had to clamp your trachea, esophagus, whatever, clamp it over, just expose your spine. It's insane.
How's your neck today? How's it feel?
It's okay for day-to-day life. I sleep well, and I teach kids judo, so I can do like little break falls, and I can fight kids. I actually grappled a couple months ago now, for like 2-3 weeks, full out, some heavyweight guys. One guy gave me a cross face, and I didn't get a stinger. I'm like, oh my God, that's actually an improvement. But sometimes when I do the break falls,
You'll feel it.
I feel it. Or just as I'm about to say, my neck's feeling pretty good, I'll trip and I'll catch myself, and I'll feel like a shot, a jolt. So it's not there.
So you gotta stop doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at first progress was so slow, I thought there was no progress. And then I saw that there was something I could do that I couldn't do before. So okay, that's a marked improvement. And it was at a snail's pace, and then it just stopped.
TitleMatchNetwork.com